Hey there folks, and welcome to this video. This is my instant race reaction for the Russian Grand Prix. Before I actually get into giving my thoughts, I'd like you to check out two videos of mine, and I'll talk about this before I actually get into the video itself. One of them was talking about Vitaly Petrov. He made comments to a publication in the past week which we construed as homophobic, and secondly, it's about F1's end racism protest ahead of the Russian Grand Prix. I think it's something that's important that we talk about, and it's also important that we talk about as a separate thing to talk about the actual race discussion, because then we can actually give the actual time and attention to it. And now to talking about Sochi. A race which, well, there are only a couple of talking points, aren't there? I'm going to be talking spoilers, of course. Bottas winning from Verstappen and Hamilton. Seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Lewis Hamilton got 10 seconds worth of penalties in two 5-second penalties, though luckily for him he was able to serve it as one, for doing a race start in the actual end of the pit lane instead of just past the lights, which was the kind of designated zone. He's also gotten 2 penalty points for it now, which means that he has got 10 points of the super license, being the 2 more. So basically any incident could seem with a one-way span. Either way, this hasn't really affected his title charge much. He's lost 8 points to Bottas, I believe. Might actually be 9 because of, I think Bottas got the fastest lap, didn't he? And that means, what? No, I mean, it will be 8 with the fastest lap. But it means that he's still got 43 points or so as an advantage over his teammate. So it's not like it's going to be particularly affected, and it's not going to particularly affect Mercedes much, being at the top of the championship. But yeah, this was a race where we saw lap 1 collisions, we saw Sainz hitting the wall and crashing out, and we saw Leclerc run into the back of Stroll. Neither of which we saw drivers penalised for, because, well, Sainz was his own mistake, he only took himself out. I think they declared the Leclerc one a racing incident. But we did also, of course, see penalties elsewhere in the pack for Daniel Ricciardo and for, on the last lap, Alex Albon for track limits violations. But as much as these were the big talking points, there were also some big crashes in F2. Well, there's a big talking point in F2. The pit stop for Mick Schumacher and that crash in the sprint race involving Jack Aitken and Luca Giotto. And, well, I mean, I'm not really going to talk about that so much in this video because I'm talking about the F1 race. So let's talk about Lewis's penalty. And actually, I think before this, I said I didn't want Lewis to win this race because it would mean that, well, he'd be equaling Schumacher's record at Sochi. And as much as it'd be interesting if he equaled it to Sochi, then beat it at Nürburgring, I thought it would be more iconic if he equaled it at the Nürburgring. Also, I don't like the idea that we give something important in history to Sochi. It's just because it's not exactly the most entertaining of tracks to watch, given the next low elevation, and the predictability for there to be a first lap safety car. And again, this year, I think the major talking point is going to be something that didn't really happen during the race. Lewis Hamilton's penalty. I think it's fair enough, but I don't think it necessarily was something that prevented him from winning the race. Of course, he finished, 23 seconds behind Bottas, and over the course of the race he did manage to battle back, and of course he was in traffic for longer than Bottas. But I have a feeling that Lewis wouldn't have won the Russian Grand Prix. I always think that it would have been Bottas. Lewis was starting on the soft tyres, where Bottas was starting on the mediums, meaning that Lewis had to go longer on the hards and had to pit earlier anyways, which meant that his strategy, because of what happened in Q2 yesterday, meant that, well, he only really could have gotten second, in my opinion. I think he lost 1 place. I think Verstappen got ahead of him because of what happened there with the penalty. But I do think that he probably only would have gotten second place in the Russian Grand Prix. That's also because it's, in my opinion, Bottas's strongest track. He's the best there, usually by a clear mile. Though, of course, yesterday in qualifying he was 8 tenths behind his teammate in third. So really, the main thing that happened was the usual suspects of Hamilton, Bottas and Verstappen flipped around their positions from yesterday to make the positions from today. I think that's really all I want to talk about. It's really all that you can talk about. There's not much more that happened at the Russian Grand Prix. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will get a discussion going, but I think that's all I have time to talk about, and that I can think about talking about right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope to see you again soon, though. Bye-bye for now.